ready for this? The ultimate fuel injector showdown. We're going to put each of these in their individually labeled cups and soak a sooted up carbonized spark plug in it for 2 days and 2 nights. And then we're going to come back and see which one of these did the best job cleaning the junk off the spark plug, which essentially would be similar to cleaning the junk out of your fuel system. I just don't have an entire fuel system to rip out to show you how it can clean those. So spark plugs are really the next best thing.
Quick disclaimer, if you like science and scientific methods, well, yeah, I hope you got a sense of humor with this test.
So let's quickly discuss the lineup here. I tried to grab an array of some of the most popular products out there that claim they can do such a thing, clean fuel injectors. Here is one of the most popular and one that I have used for decades. An old hot rod guy told me this is the best on the market. He swore by it, and that's what I've used ever since. And they're all super easy to use. This is all just like dump it in the tank, fuel tank stuff, and then fill up the tank and then drive around. And this one I've used with great success. You'll hear a lot of people that will like this one. I have never seen this Seafoam Concentrate before, but I picked it up. It looks like it's in a similar size bottle. It looks like they're trying to compete very similar against Lucas here. And I have heard of Seafoam. A lot of people use this in their gas tank. It's a very popular product. Tons of people use Seafoam with great results. You can use it in the oil as well. It's one of the few on the table here that I think says you can use it in the oil. This one and this one you can use in the oil. The other ones I think are specific for just the gasoline. This one here, very popular product. This one here, another really, really popular product. In fact, all these are super popular products. This is probably one of the highest rated ones I've found online. It says use every 10,000 miles. Royal Purple. I'm sure you've heard of them if you're into cars. And what's nice about this one, it comes with the nozzle, so you can actually get this into the fuel tank. A lot of the times you'll find you're at the gas station only to try to add this into your tank, and there's no way to actually get that down in there because the hole to get it in there is too far away, and you can't get that in. So Royal Purple kind of fixed that, which is nice with their added nozzle that they come with. Gumout. I've heard this name since I was a kid watching races on TV. Use every 3,000 miles. Directions, I'm sure it just says pour it in, fill it up. Yep, repeat every 3,000 miles. Marvel Mystery Oil. This stuff does absolutely wonders. Honestly, the mystery is in there. I use this in lawnmowers. I use this in snowblowers. I use this in a brand new Toyota RAV4. I use this in old classic cars. And what it does is it basically cleans the oil system. I don't use it in the fuel systems, any of those things. So this is going to be kind of new to me. See how well it cleans the fuel system. It's super easy to use. It gives you a little chart right there on what to do if it's fuel or if it's oil related. Oh, stick around, because I'm going to add a 7th one, a mystery fluid right here that I'm not going to reveal to you till the end, because you know what? You're going to be super surprised at what this actually does and where it came from. All right, let's get this party started.
Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started.
Let's get this party started.
5 of the 6 spark plugs are from the same vehicle, removed at the exact same time. The 6th one I didn't use from that vehicle because it had a valve issue, so that one didn't burn properly, and it was actually a really clean spark plug. So I grabbed a lawnmower spark plug that I had sitting around that is very similar in the amount of carbon that I thought all these other ones had. And I'm not trying to do it any disservice by using a non-matching one. I think it's close enough so that we can get a general idea of what's going on. It's got enough buildup on it. So we've got it lined up with the cups. I'm going to put just enough in there to cover the threads and the electrode on these. And then we're going to let it sit there unagitated. I might move it into a bin so that if any of these do leak for whatever reason, they're going to leak into my oil pan instead of, all over my counter here. All right, so let's get started. First, Lucas Injector Cleaner. I wonder if George Lucas knows this exists. It's a little thick. It's not like gasoline. It's a little thicker than that. Let's see. That should probably be enough. Kind of looks like Mountain Dew. We're just going to drop that in there. Okay. Yeah, that's covering the electrode. That's enough right there. All right. So we got Lucas. Seafoam Concentrate.
Concentrate. Concentrate.
All right. That's got a thingy on the top. And a quick tip, if any of these have the foil on the top, make sure you get all that foil off. What you don't want is any of that going into your fuel system, clogging an injector. Ooh, this one smells like paint thinner. Holy cow. Seafoam Concentrate.
Concentrate. Concentrate.
This one's a little bit thinner than the Lucas. Kind of poured out more like a whiskey, poured out more like a whiskey. All right, I think that's enough to cover the electrode there. Regular old Seafoam. This is very thin stuff. Comes out kind of like water. All right, there's the Seafoam one soaking.
Royal Purple Max Clean.
Here we go. Ooh, it's purple. That's fun. Comes out real thin like water, or hey, maybe even Kool-Aid for all the grape fans out there. All right, you can see that one's covering the threads there. Gumout. Hey, thanks for giving me a little tab up here to pull so I didn't have to grind away all the little stupid stuff.
Gumout.
Oh, this stuff smells like fishing lures. Gumout definitely has a different smell than the rest of them. Doesn't smell like fuel. Oh, yeah, it smells like this stuff smells like this stuff smells like plastic fishing lures. And if you've ever fished with a certain brand of them, you'll know exactly what I mean. I'm not going to shout out that brand. If you've ever had a package of I'll get to that. Marvel Mystery Oil, another foil thing without a tab on it, so hopefully none of this crap falls into the mixture. It would be terrible if it fell into your gas tank. If it just gets into this stuff, it's not a big deal because I'm just going to dispose of it all. But I don't know why brands that do additives for liquids in cars put these type of things on there, because if any of those, even just the tiniest little one like that, fell into your gas tank, that is not going to be good. It could require you at that point to pull apart almost your whole fuel system to figure out where that thing got stuck. It'd likely be the injector. Oh, I'm pretty sure I dropped some in there. Oh well. Okay.
Marvel Mystery Oil.
And this stuff comes out a little bit thicker than water, but a little bit thinner than oil. Quite a bit thinner than oil, depending on what oil you're used to. But you know what? It doesn't have a bad smell. It kind of smells like it smells a little bit. It kind of smells like mouth. Okay, here we go. I am going to cap these. That's all of them. I'm going to put a cap on every one of them. And then I'm going to put them in an oil drain pan, just in case any of these mixtures eat through the plastic. I don't think they should. Food-rated plastic is generally rated for weird oils and solvents beyond what you'd think they're rated for. So one thing I would say, after I went through my rant about all these little weird foil plasticky things, you know who wins the battle there? Seafoam right here doesn't do that. Royal Purple doesn't do that. They have like a plastic pull-off tab ring, both of them do. And then Gumout, they do have the foil thing, but they give you a little handle to pull it all off in one piece so that you don't get these little shards potentially going through your fuel system. I've got caps on them to hopefully stop any type of evaporation that would occur. I don't think most of these would evaporate, but hey, you're going to cover all my bases on this one. We're doing some like halfway sciencey stuff here, so you know, you got to have the labels, you got to have the procedure down and all that stuff.
Hey, you know what? We're doing some halfway scientific stuff here.
One more thing I just thought about to help the electrodes and threads kind of be a little deeper into the fluid. I'm going to tilt this a little bit, but then they're going to be covered in more of the fluid because you could see like half of the fluid really isn't doing much in here, but this was the best cup I could find out there in about 30 seconds to figure out what to show you guys with. So we're going to check back in 2 days and, well, 2 nights as well, because that's how 24 hours works. And then we're going to come back and see which one of these took the most crud off of the spark plug. So here's the 14-hour update. We'll call it, for science, we'll call it a 12-hour update. There's the mystery one. What do you think's in there? All right, so I don't want to move any of the cups because I don't want to disturb what they're doing. I don't want to give any one of them a fair advantage by shaking it or moving it a little bit. But what I can tell you is that this mystery one has a film on the top. The Seafoam, I can see some sediment in the bottom left. And then the one that actually looks like it did the most in terms of, like, I'm looking at the threads. I can barely tell on the colored ones. But the threads on the Seafoam Concentrate look like they're doing the best out of the crew in terms of being cleaned. I can't see the electrodes yet. This one is very clean as well, which is Gumout. And I can tell you the Gumout kind of went cloudy in the first few minutes, so I knew it was doing something, whether it be a chemical reaction or actually cleaning. But I think in the bottom, you can kind of see some stuff down there. So there's the 14-ish, 12-hour-ish update. Stay tuned. So it's been a little bit longer than 2 days. I actually left town for the weekend, and this ended up being 100 hours of soaking. I'm going to take the caps off of these, and then we're going to peek inside these little plastic cups and see what the heck's been going on. Ooh, the smell in here. It's ripe. Whew, that one really stunk. Okay, the initial look. Here's the Lucas. The threads look pretty clean. The liquid itself doesn't look like it's all that gummed up, dirty, or cloudy. This is the Seafoam Concentrate, and man, those threads look really clean. That's about all I can tell for now. And the Seafoam, that got pretty darn cloudy. There's like a film on top as well. And then moving down here, the mystery fluid. Well, you can see through it because it's clear, but you can also see there's kind of a film on top there. See if I'll give it a little. You can see a little bit of a film. You can start to see some of the dark stuff coming off of that electrode and the threads. And then over here, we've got a really tough one to see through is the royal purple. It is cloudy, but it's naturally kind of cloudy anyway. This one up here is the Gumout, and I will say that the Gumout got cloudy within about an hour. So 99 of those hours might not have been doing a whole lot more than the first hour did, but I can also see where it's got some sediment in the bottom there. And then this one here is the Marvel Mystery Oil, which is still a mystery because I can barely see through the NyQuil-ish type color there. All right, so now I'm going to take each one of these out so that we can kind of get an idea of how clean these got just sitting in there. And then after that, stay tuned because I am going to agitate these in each one of the fluids that they soaked in. And that agitation might simulate more of a real-life driving experience with you going up and down hills, bumps, stuff like that, engine vibrating. When it's sitting static like this, there's really nothing helping that stuff break off of there. It's just going to see what solvent was best at pulling it off, just like this, though. I can actually see the sediments a little better now that I've put them on paper towels. I can look through the cup. This one here, Lucas, not showing a whole lot. Seafoam Concentrate, showing a little bit in the front corner there, right under the spark plug electrode, if you can see that. And then Seafoam itself, the regular stuff, you can see some of the sediment at the bottom. Max Clean Royal Purple, still can't really see through that very well. Gumout, still cloudy. Nice cloud of dark stuff right by the electrode. Marvel Mystery Oil, still kind of a mystery. I can't see much through that at all. And then, what? My own mystery juice here. Look at that. What? All right. Let's get a light over here. Well, you can see without agitation, that's still got quite a bit of gunk. Seafoam Concentrate.
Concentrate! Concentrate!
It does look like it took a lot of it off the threads. They're real clean. But the electrode itself, where the heavy carbon was, that's still pretty carboned up. Seafoam.
OG Seafoam, dog.
This one's got a real thick layer of film on the top. So it took something off doing that. And I can kind of tell. You can see some stuff at the bottom of that thing. And all right. Again, so pretty similar to the first three results here. It looks like maybe agitation's the way to go for a lot of these. Here's the royal purple. This one was kind of a mystery along the way because you can't see through it very well. Let's see if I can get some light on that. All right, again, thread's clean, but the heavy carbon still exists. Gumout, one of the front runners from the beginning in terms of what I could see it doing visibly. You see how cloudy that stuff got in there. Let me see if I can get you. Looks like some alien life form growing in the bottom there, so whatever it did, it pulled that off the spark plug for me. Let's take a closer look. Okay, hard to say. I don't think this one's any cleaner from soaking than the other ones. All right, Marvel Mystery Oil. What is in this stuff? All right, let's take a look. Can we see any sediment? It just still looks like a Kool-Aid NyQuil combo. All right, let's take a look at the plug itself. And the threads even look a little dirty on this one still. Holy cow. Well, here's the one that looked like it did the best visibly just from soaking. I mean, look at all that weird stuff. It looks like worms growing in there, man. This worked very well at least visibly cleaning the plug. Let's take that out of there, take a look at it. Yeah, this worked really well at pulling some of that junk off there. You can even see it. You can see it even started pulling the crazies off of this part here. It went above and beyond the threads and left me with a whole bunch of weird looking juice in there. And I'll let you know what that is here in just a bit after we agitate these and see what happens. Okay, I know you're asking, what's this super scientific method of agitating these that's going to happen? Well, I'm just going to put the caps on and shake them a bit. How about that? All right, again, we're doing this agitation to simulate kind of normal driving experience, whereas soaking statically in a cup of goo isn't really simulating a whole lot that a car would go through. So, this is going to be my method. I'm going to try not to treat any of them better or worse than the other ones. Just going to do this for a few seconds each. And let me know in the comments if you think I was playing favorites here on any one of these. I wasn't trying to. I'm just sitting here shaking juice and spark plugs, man. Ooh, the seafoam really clouded up after that agitation. Look at that. Holy cow. Royal purple. Hard to tell what's going on inside of there. Maybe they want it that way. Gumout. I got a feeling this one's going to get real cloudy after I agitate it. Ooh, it definitely got darker. That's like 50 shades darker of gross. Marvel Mystery Oil. Haven't seen much out of this one yet. Who knows what it's doing? I mean, that's part of the mystery, right? You put it in there and you just kind of hope that it did what it says it might do. Let's see, my own mystery juice. What's this one going to end up doing? All right, not playing favorites. Oh, I knocked a whole bunch more of those alien-looking worms off that spark plug. I gotta say, Royal Purple kind of went Royal Brown after that agitation round, so hopefully it's knocking some of that stuff off there. I'm gonna let these plugs kind of dry off a little bit on the top end so I can grab them without getting my fingers all weird, and check these again in just a minute. What had started as a 2-day soak ended up being, let's call it 330 hours, which equals about 13 days. And the reason why, well, a couple of scientific things happened along the way. I added this thing in there, and it changed a whole bunch of whatness. I also was a little less than careful, bumped one of these, and one of the spark plugs fell into the bottom while all the others were drying. So I decided to dunk them all again and wait another 3 days, which is when this weird stuff happened to this one. So do you have any guess what is in this thing and what happened to it? It was the cleanest plug, now it's the dirtiest plug. So some of these are tough to judge because they are a little bit darker than the others to see how much grossness came off the plugs. The Lucas, I mean, you can see right through this thing. There's nothing in there. I don't see anything that came off, maybe a couple tiny little bits. Yeah, if I get real close, you can see the tiny little bits in there, okay? Whereas with the Seafoam Concentrate, you can definitely see it has changed color and there's quite a bit of sediment in the bottom. See, that's what happened during my tests. Oh, well. You know what? In the name of science, we're just going to keep going. Seafoam here, you can definitely see it has done quite a bit of work pulling stuff off of that plug. Royal Purple, all right, we can't see through Royal Purple, so I'm going to grab the light. Here we go. Royal purple, you can see there is some dirty junk in there. It looks like a small goobery bit of carbon. And, well, like I said, it turned royal brown. And then Gumout changed quite a bit of color. I want to show you the original color on Gumout is like that. Whereas it has turned mostly a brownish color that you can kind of see through. So I'm going to put this one on the light as well. Gumout was one of the first ones that I noticed was working. And at this angle, you can really see all the stuff that came off of the plug there. There's still quite a bit remaining on the plug, but we're going to try something for that in a minute. Marvel Mystery Oil. All right, the mystery continues. I do not know what this stuff is doing because I don't see anything in there that came off the plug and made any sediment or dirt or whatever. That's a tough one. I've got some theories on this entire scientific thing I've done. And I'll tell you them in a second. This one got real weird. Some of the grossities that were on there, when I redunked them all, they, the plug was in there. And then when I pulled the plug out, this top part got really weird looking. Like all the nasty that was on the threads and stuff walked its way up there and decided to stay on that. So, weird, man. All right. And this stuff has changed so much color. It went in clear. Then it was kind of a clear with dark black boogers and worms. And now, well, it is this color with a lot of that in it. Can you guess what that is? Oh, so you're wondering what the next somewhat scientific process is in this method? Well, it's going to be to pour that stuff out into each labeled one of these with a coffee filter on top so we can kind of get a better look and see which one has done a better job at cleaning the deposits off of these spark plugs. And let's remember, yes, I am cleaning deposits off of spark plugs, not fuel injectors, because this is really the only way to visually test cleaning the deposits. All right, let's get started with this somewhat scientific approach here. We are going to take the plugs out of the cap. We are going to swirl the plug one last time in there for super scientific reasons. And then we're going to pour the liquid through the coffee filters. Here we go, starting with the Lucas, and I will let you know, I think Lucas is the thickest of the fluids. I don't know if that helps or hurts for whatever reason, but here we can see there's a little bit of grit in the bottom. We're just going to do that, and then we're going to pour it right in here. All right, it's going to take a minute to get that through there. Luckily, with the power of editing, I can speed that up. Seafoam Concentrate.
Concentrate. All you gotta do is concentrate.
Oh, just a quick little... Oh, a quick little smell of that one will put you in a different universe. Holy cow. This one's draining a lot faster than the Lucas, I can already tell.
Seafoam!
Royal Purple, which turned royal brown. Seafoam's draining quick. Tell you what, these fumes, they get something to
talk about here. If I get a little loopy.
I get a little loop.
We all know what it's from. And you can see how much that royal purple caught in the bottom of there. Gumout! The mystery continues. Let's see what this looks like when we drain it. Ooh, sniff test. Still has that cinnamon flavor. All right, and the question mark. Let's see what the heck happened here. This one's the one that smells, I guess, the most familiar of any of them. Oh, God, it stinks now. It really does. This one got real interesting. Look at all that. Look at the stuff coming off the plug. It's just like flaking off of there now. Look at my fingers after touching that. Here they are, all respectively draining into their cups. And I'd like to say I think a couple of them are definitely more viscous. Royal Purple went through there really quick. The Lucas is still struggling. It's mostly up there. So you can see that's more like an oil, less like a fuel in terms of viscosity. Seafoam Concentrate, still dripping. It's almost gone. Regular Seafoam's almost all in there. Royal Purple is all in there now. Gumout, that's pretty clear. Marvel Mystery Oil, well, it's pretty thin. It's a lot thinner than most motor oils, I will tell you that. And then the last one here, I think because of how much grit it picked up or decided to make or invent, that one's draining a little slower than it normally would. Holy cow, the scent in here is interesting. It is like an entire mechanic. So I got them all tipped up and draining like that to get all the last little bits of the nasties out of there. Because I noticed the bottom of the cup was kind of holding some stuff in it. Because, well, the sediment's a little bit more sticky than the, the fluid is, so it likes to sit in the bottom. Anyhoozle, let's take a quick look at what I meant about that viscosity on the Lucas. You'll see as it drips here, it drips a lot like oil, a lot less like water or gasoline coming out of there. Real slow, all right? It also gives you a chance to see kind of the sediment that's getting stuck in there. I'll just go down the line, kind of show you here. Preliminary results. That's the Seafoam Concentrate. This is the Seafoam. This is the Royal Purple, which still has a bit stuck in the top here. I don't know how I'm going to have to test that out. Probably figure out something super scientific-y. And you can see the Gumout here still draining quite a bit. It did catch quite a bit in there. Let's see if I can get... You can see quite a bit in there like that. And then Marvel Mystery Oil. This one's still kind of a mystery to me. I thought it would have had a heck of a lot better results. However, I do have some theories at the end of this video. I've got some theories as to why some of these aren't exactly visually performing at this test. And it doesn't mean that they are no good as fuel injector cleaners. It just means they're not performing visually during this exact type of test. And, well, this test has been extremely scientific. Well, and holy cow, you can see how much junk this has pulled off and actually even created its own junk. If that's any hint as to what I used, I'll let you know at the end of the video. You gotta stick around. I got a friendly critter right outside the window here at the shop looking to see what the results are. So let's get into the results. I let the old cups drip into the coffee filtered cups for about an hour and a half. All right, we're gonna take a close-up look at each filter here. Here's the Lucas. You can see the filter's rather clean. There's a little bit of grit way down in there at the bottom. And oddly, all the Lucas hasn't drained through yet. Almost every one of these other ones has. But Lucas is a little thicker. It got a little stuck in that coffee filter there. And you can see Lucas looks brand new in the bottom there. Like it has the whole time. Seafoam Concentrate. All right. All of this one's goo pretty much drained through, but it did hold all of the stuff down there in the bottom. Let's see if I can get enough. So you can see Seafoam Concentrate did a pretty good job at pulling stuff out of there. There's a nice dark chunk. It's oddly concentrated.
Concentrate.
Concentrate.
All you gotta do is concentrate.
Seafoam, you can see there's a bit more widespread of the junk. There's quite a bit all around this filter here. Seafoam did a pretty darn good job. And the bottom there with just a little bit of fluid is real dark because it's holding a lot of the concentration of the fluid, or of the deposits you can see there. So Seafoam did a really good job, in my opinion. All right, and now over to Royal Purple. And you can see, let me zoom all the way out here. You can see Royal Purple did a really good job. It's got quite a bit of deposits in there. Do some zooming. This one drained all the way through. So you can kind of see a little bit better all of the grit and nasties it pulled off of the spark plug. And presumably out of your fuel system. All right, Gumout. This one did a really good job too. Let me zoom all the way out. Most of the concentration of the nasties up here from the way I'd set the top cup on there. So a lot of it drained into this spot. You can see it's a lot of darkness there and a lot of chunky grits. And oddly, this is the one that I see most of this light colored chunky stuff, and it could be because of each, spark plug is a little bit different. But all the other ones are just dark chunks. This one's got light chunks. So I don't know if maybe the Gumout itself makes darker chunks into lighter chunks, or if it was pulling off slightly something different from a spark plug that had slightly something different on it. All right, Marvel Mystery Oil, still a mystery, folks. I cannot see much action with this one. Very few little pieces there that, maybe if you shook a spark plug hard enough anyway, they'd fall off. But that said, Marvel Mystery Oil is one of only 2 on this test that are capable of doing inside of motor oil as well. Those 2 can go in motor oil and the fuel system. So a little bit more versatile. Testing it on fuel here. I only use it for the motor oil, but you'd assume that it would kind of do similar things in oil that it would as fuel. Who knows? I'll have to test that maybe in a different way. And the question mark. Look at all the junk that came off of that plug. It is outstanding. It even pulled them off. It pulled the stuff off the threads and kind of left it in form. You see all those things that look like little gorilla hairs. Well, that's actually that's the junk that came off the threads. There's a big one up here. And then the other stuff that's in there, well, that's basically rust. That was some stuff that oxidized when I pulled the spark plugs out for the first time and let them dry off and let them drip when they're hanging off in the caps and they were dripping into the fluids. What happened is this plug right here, the one that was in the question fluid, oxidized like crazy. And that's just, look at that. That looks like I'm eating extra cheesy Doritos. Do any of these spark plugs look like they are visibly cleaner from soaking for 300-ish hours and then getting jostled around in there a few scientific times while along the way? Well, I know one that looks dirtier, but that's the one that actually looks like it got the cleanest. So that's a catch-22. I'm about to show you what that is. The one plug that got the wettest on this paper was the Gumout. Does that matter? I don't know. Maybe back in college it would have. So I know, all right, after this whole test, I've been teasing you about what this weird fluid is. I'm sure some of you have guessed it right. Some of you probably guessed it wrong. Some of you are like, that guy's crazy. You know what it was? Household cleaning vinegar. And that is exactly why it worked in the beginning. Worked great, and then I pulled it out. It was exposed to the air. It dried, and it oxidized like crazy. All that oxidation was created because I soaked it in vinegar. So when people tell you to soak some things in vinegar, what you need to do right after that is then soak it in some type of oil solution or WD-40, give it a quick spritz. Because otherwise, what if you did that and then sent that back into your fuel system? Holy cow, that is going to be terrible. All right, we're going to see what happens when I hit this thing with a little WD-40. Well, now it smells like WD-40. Let's give the old vinegar one a nice little brush in here. All right, after about 5 seconds of using WD-40 on this and a brush to clean it off, it looks darn near brand new, except for the backside that I didn't get with a brush because there's still some of that corrosion that grew there. But you can see, so the vinegar did work. The process that I used, though, was a little bit flawed. I should have sprayed it with WD-40 right after I took it out of the vinegar because all that oxidation, well, it didn't rust the metal. It was basically just oxidizing on top of that. Okay, so in all fairness, we are also going to spray and brush these other ones. This is the Marvel Mystery. All right, we got the Marvel Mystery Oil one pretty cleaned up. There's still a little bit of deposits, I'd say, on those threads. A little bit of junk inside of there. All right, the Gumout. Let's see what the Gumout does with just a wipe down here. That's pretty darn clean. I could probably hit it with this brush just for a second, get those threads nicer. All right, so that's how the Gumout one cleaned up. Pretty darn good looking. I'd use that in a car. Royal Purple. Let's see how this one cleans up. All right, Royal Purple cleaned up pretty good. I'd use that again. Seafoam. Seafoam cleaned up real nice. I'd use that. Seafoam Concentrate.
Concentrate. Concentrate.
Well, the Concentrate cleaned up rather nicely. The threads kind of cleaned up better than expected. Some of them look real clear right there. I'd use Seafoam Concentrate. All right, and Lucas, the one that I've always used, didn't show a whole lot of promise at an ambient temperature soak test. Let's see if the brush will clean it up a little bit. All right, super scientific method of cleaning these all up here. And it looks like, Lucas, you know, I'd still use it. That's a good-looking spark plug. But there are better ones in the bunch. Seafoam Concentrate got a little bit cleaner, I think, than some of the others. And Seafoam still looks good. Now, if I'm just judging by the threads here, I would say that the Royal Purple and the Seafoam Concentrate are a very close second, first and second here. Seafoam Concentrate on the left, Royal Purple on the right. And then you get down here a little bit. Marvel Mystery Oil, this is a little bit of an oddball. It is a slightly different plug, so I will give it, I'll give the asterisk on that one. This is the Champion plug. These others were NGRs. But, so, this was a Champion as well. So, these were a pair, and you can see that the vinegar did a heck of a lot better than the Marvel Mystery Oil. Vinegar on right, Marvel Mystery Oil on left, in terms of what color the threads are coming out of the mix. This one's got a lot of buildup on those threads that just don't want to come off. The vinegar didn't seem to care about the threads and just ripped all the crap right off of it and left it in swirly looking seasoned curlies there. So is there a clear winner? Well, yeah, I think this one pulled the most stuff off. But is there a clear winner for fuel system cleaners in terms of the deposits they removed from the spark plugs themselves? I would say it's a real close toss-up between Seafoam,
Royal Purple,
and the Gumout, because the Gumout's all stuck in there, but it did change color the fastest too, so maybe it's the one that will work the fastest. But if you're looking for one that's more versatile, it would be the Seafoam, because that can work in the oil and the gasoline. If you're looking for one that I think works the best, well, a long-time believer here, it's the Lucas. What it didn't do is clean anything off of this spark plug while it was at ambient temperature. Now, here's the big thing. I tested all this stuff at basically ambient room temperature, nothing like what it would experience inside of a vehicle. So some of these cleaning agents, the detergents in these bottles, they are not very active at ambient temperature. What they are active at is probably like, normal engine operating temperatures, which is what they'd be exposed to most of the time when the car is actually running and moving fluids and sparks and all that. What that makes me think, though, is that some of these aren't going to be great at cleaning anything leading up to the fuel injector because they aren't exposed to enough heat, like your gas lines, your fuel tank, your fuel pump, and your fuel filter are not exposed to the operating temperatures of an engine. Your fuel injectors, kind of. Your spark plugs, yes, a lot. So yeah, there are some loopholes and gaps in this test, but you know what? I think I did a pretty good job of showing you what these will do at ambient temperatures. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. So which one do I think was the best? Well, vinegar was kind of the best, but it's probably also the worst. The one that I think you should probably dump in your fuel tank might be the Seafoam or the Gumout or the Royal Purple, depending on which budget you got. And maybe if you want a versatile one that can go in the oil as well, I'd go with the Seafoam. Let me know what you think. Regardless of what the results are here shown, what is your opinion on what the best one is? And if I didn't test one that you like, well, hit me up in the comments, because there'll probably be round 2.
All in the name of science and horsepower.
Torque and Twisted, out of here.